Hello everyone, my name is Jose Medina. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in California, CEPA certified continuing education provider, and private practice owner. Welcome to Well Mind Study. The purpose of this channel is to generate meaningful discussion about psychology, therapy, mental illness, and psychoeducation backed by peer-reviewed research. While these videos may be helpful, they are not therapy, nor are they a good substitute for it. The information or advice given on this channel is not a one-size-fits-all that's going to work for absolutely everyone, whether it be due to practical limitations, cultural differences, or areas of awareness that I need to further educate myself on and expand my understanding of. With that being said, I'm excited to get to the topic of our first video, and that is understanding one key symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder that many struggle to manage. The symptom that we're going to be focusing on today with respect to PTSD in its simplest terms is outlined in the DSM-5 as hypervigilance. Before discussing hypervigilance, I want to find some common language and understanding that we can use before really delving in. According to Healthline, hypervigilance is a biological adaptation to stress. It's your brain's method of trying to keep you out of harm's way by being highly alert and aware of your surroundings. Being an adaptation to your surroundings, hypervigilance is the brain and body's way of saying, hey, we've been through a lot and the old way we had of moving through the world is no longer going to work. We were either in danger or currently feel like we're in danger, and this is the space we need to be in to survive. If someone wakes up day after day in an environment that is inherently unsafe, the safety benefits of having the body and mind in a state of hypervigilance are likely going to outweigh the benefits of working to reduce it in therapy. For those who do seek to reduce feelings of hypervigilance, however, the path forward may feel impossible at times. For many individuals suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, one major milestone in psychotherapy treatment is reaching a point where we can begin to tolerate stability by reducing our feelings of hypervigilance. Now, I know that last sentence may sound confusing, but those who struggle with a traumatic event, a series of traumatic events, or are just coming out of a psychologically challenging environment will know this challenge all too well. Many often struggle in new environments where there are no immediate threats. But why does this happen? How can our bodies feel like they're betraying us in this way? Shouldn't we simply feel ecstatic not to be in or near the trauma anymore? Well, for many who endure trauma but don't develop PTSD symptoms, this can very much be the case. But for those who do, we look to the brain for more clues on what might be happening here. A link between cortisol levels and post-traumatic stress disorder has been observed for a few decades. What's interesting about this link is that it seems to suggest that the stress hormone cortisol is significantly lower in individuals who suffer from PTSD. The part of the brain responsible for managing our output of cortisol is called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and it's believed to be able to influence our behaviors in ways that can help us bring our hormones back into balance. So you might be asking yourself, what's this got to do with PTSD? Well, the implications for this could be pretty important. For starters, if your brain is releasing cortisol at a level that's lower than what your resting release rate of it would be in the first place, in theory, it would motivate your HPA axis to do something different to generate that missing cortisol. Some actions that could generate some excess cortisol could be getting into fights, frequent participation in activities that are likely to result in bodily or psychological harm, engaging in destructive thought loops that are not otherwise due to an existing diagnosis of obsessive compulsive disorder, and substance abuse. Now, I know that last line was an earful, so let's bring it back down to earth. For example, if I'm feeling hypervigilant, one solution I might generate to help me wind down could be to have some beer or hard liquor. While my levels of cortisol may fluctuate to meet my needs in the short term, they'll also likely be elevated in the 1 to 3 days that follow, notwithstanding some variations in genetic makeup. Stimulant usage such as cocaine could also send my levels of cortisol higher, both while intoxicated and when withdrawing. On the behavioral side of things, I could curate my social media feeds to predominantly include images and media I know I'll find distressing, engage triggering content, perform physical activity to a level that is much more likely to result in injury. This is not to judge the aforementioned activities in as much as it is to call attention to potential implicit motivations that may draw us towards these actions in the first place and examine the impact that these actions may have on us psychologically. Please note that if you find the social media aspect of what I'm saying to be reductive or privileged in nature, I'll be doing an expanded video on that in the next month or so, tentatively titled, who is recovery for, and what does it look like? So if all of this is happening in the background, what can we do about it? The answer is going to vary from person to person. Hypervigilance can sometimes feel like free-floating anxiety, which makes it hard to distinguish from what it actually is at times. If we can stop and make enough time to check in with ourselves, we can then start putting some distance between ourselves and our symptoms. We can ask ourselves the hard questions like, am I feeling like this because of something that's happening, or does it feel like a free-floating symptom? If we're in a safe enough environment to be able to do this, then we can start using our coping strategies like deep breathing, finding distractions, engaging in hobbies, or looking to others for support to help us regulate. A big part of recovery from PTSD is not only tolerating stability, but rebuilding trust in the communities we make and participate in, the world, and our own judgment. So much of this comes from not only learning how to tolerate stability, but finding hope, which in the struggle to manage PTSD symptoms, that can feel all-consuming. It's my hope that this video can help both consumers and non-consumers of mental health services receive some clarity into what may be happening for them on a neurological and behavioral level. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time. If you're interested, you can read more about the link between cortisol and PTSD in the 2020 study, The 24-Hour Urinary Cortisol in Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, a meta-analysis linked below. You can also check out the Stevens article regarding stress, the HPA axis, and alcohol dependence in the second link. Information in this video used both of the studies as references, and giving credit where it's due, citing is caring.